We're in the park. Where else do you use so many muscles?
Looks like we picked up some people in our little vortex.
So where did we leave off with Dr. Barragoosh?
I spaced out after muscle contractions.
So what do you know?
Oh, I know a little about structural anatomy.
Okay, well why don't we just start with that?
Taken thin filaments are the smallest part. They make up the myofibril. A bunch of myofibrils put together make up a muscle fiber, which is the muscle cell. Muscle fibers are held together by the paramecium, and these groups are called vesicles. A bunch of vesicles are surrounded by the epimecium, and the group makes up the muscle itself.
Nerd! Man, you gotta shut up!
No, good. Now let's get in more detail and talk about the muscle fiber. That some of the structures have different names. The sarcolemma functions as a plasma membrane, and the sarcoplasmic reticulum is a lot like the endoplasmic reticulum. Because they need so much energy, muscle cells usually have several mitochondria, and they also have several nuclei. They also have T-tubules, which extend transversely across the sarcoplasm and send electrical impulses deeper into the cell. Now let's get even smaller. Contraction starts in the sarcomere. That's the most basic contractile unit, and it's located on the myofibril between two dense plates called Z-disc. The thin filaments are directly attached to the Z-disc, which helps the muscle contract. But we'll get to that in a minute. If we look closer at the sarcomere, we'll see that there are even more regions with specific names and functions. The A-band runs along the entire length of the thick filaments. The I-band includes the Z-line and the ends of the thin filaments where they don't overlap with thick filaments. The H-zone is the middle region of the thick filaments that don't overlap with thin filaments. Before we go any further, we should talk more about the myofilaments. Thin filaments are made up of the proteins actin, troponin, and tropomyosin. All three twist together, and in this configuration, the active sites on actin are blocked by tropomyosin held in place by troponin. Thick filaments are made of the protein myosin. Actin and myosin are attracted to each other, but they can't react unless the active sites on actin are exposed.
So what does that have to do with muscle contraction?
Now that, my dear, is a very good question. Okay, it all starts in the neuromuscular junction.
The who?
The neuromuscular junction.
I know something about that.
The neuromuscular junction connects to the nerve cell called a motor neuron to a part of the sarcolemma called the motor end plate. It's a synapse, which means there's a small gap between the motor end plate and the nerve cell. We call this the synaptic cleft. The bottom of the motor neuron is called the synaptic knob, which has several synaptic vesicles that will release the neurotransmitter acetylcholine. The sarcolemma has acetylcholine receptor sites, and once acetylcholine diffuses across the synaptic cleft and initiates the reaction, this will send an electrical impulse deeper into the sarcolemma.
Nerd!
Hey, you know what? Now let's just get to what happens in the neuromuscular junction, okay? A nerve impulse sent from the brain first initializes muscle contraction. When it reaches the end of the motor neuron, it triggers the release of acetylcholine from the synaptic knob. Acetylcholine diffuses across the synaptic cleft under the sarcolemma, which sends an electrical impulse through the T-tubules that tells the sarcoplasmic reticulum to release calcium into the sarcoplasm.
Once calcium is in the cytoplasm, it binds to troponin on the thick filaments. This makes the tropomyosin molecule shift, which exposes the active sites on actin. Myosin heads on the thick filaments, then binds to active sites, creating an energized myosin crossbridge. They use their energy to pull thin myofilaments towards the center of the sacrum. ATP produces in the muscle fibers releases the myosin heads and return to their original position. The myosin heads, which then binds to the next active site, and the cycle continues. As long as there is enough ATP, the process will continue until as long as needed. The muscle fibers shorten as thick and thin filaments side pass each other, and the muscle contracts.
As you can tell, the muscle is a very interesting subject. When your muscles contract, this is something you might just get. Stop!
So what does that have to do with muscle?